It's Calvin and welcome to Newcastillian News. This is a bit of a video kind of compilation that I'm going to be doing. You can jump through different sections. You'll see I'll kind of mark it off, so as you fast forward through the video, you can see the frequently asked questions that I discussed, because we've had a bunch come in over the last while, and this is a long overdue video. And just to kind of get into it a bit, with Newcastillian News itself, the product, if you haven't been tracking us over the last 8 years, you would have noted that we have grown and revamped and grown and revamped. There's been this whole transition of product and the way that we actually, just kind of pursue this drive to ensure that there is unbiased news delivered to you. That's kind of our thing. In South Africa and around the world, there's been this degradation of the news industry. Whereas there are actually quite a lot of people and a lot of companies like ourselves that are fighting for this unbiased approach, and we do a hell of a lot and endure a hell of a lot of challenges to ensure that the communities that we serve are able to receive facts, and then as adults you are able to kind of ascertain what you want out of that story. You are able to come to your conclusions, which is the core functionality of news. And to be honest with you, it's been lost a lot through a lot of companies. We've seen how, sensationalism and clickbait and all these weird and wonderful terms that basically denote to you clicking on an article and giving that person or that company readership. Social media as well has been, for anyone in our industry, in the news business, we all know this. Social media has become the cesspool of just bad information. It is not particular to one brand of social media, but unfortunately we see it a hell of a lot. We see it all the time. You see it all the time. So there's been this great questioning of news globally as to what sources can we rely on. And independent news agencies like ourselves, we're not backed by anyone. We don't have any big government funding. We don't have some corporate company that's worth $100 trillion that owns us and dictates to us. We're independent. We're people that are passionate about this and that have been in this for many, many years. And even prior to Newcastillian, we all come from a history in marketing and media, and in the news industry. So it's the project was started with a group of people that were just truly committed to elevating the standard of news, the accessibility of news, and the availability of news, whilst at the same time ensuring that those that are responsible for the communities that we serve and those that directly impact the communities that we serve are held accountable. And another thing that you would have seen with the Newcastillian, we don't go out of our way to butcher anybody. That is not our standard. We don't believe in that. If you've done wrong, we'll call you out. But if you've done good, we'll give you your limelight. And unfortunately, over the years as well, as a lot of news agencies, especially in the print game, around South Africa, started to see a backslide in figures. There was kind of this transition into a attack dog mentality. You've also seen this with televised news as well. Everything is about attacking, as opposed to substantiating just facts on all ends and being able to present the findings to you, where you can then, once again as an adult, go, okay, this is what I take away from the information. This is the point of news, is to hold people accountable, to ensure that the country keeps on driving at a democratic pace, and that your life is filled with information that you can count on. So these core principles and pillars of the Newcastillian have aided us to grow a product that we just had a couple of followers in the beginning, family members and friends. And to now, we're built on these principles and standards, and through the awesome work of our holding company, which is Pixelfish Marketing, also a little agency that was started out in Newcastle and has subsequently grown to really do amazing, wonderful things with different companies around South Africa, and is just really at the forefront of digital development. Pixelfish built us the Newcastillian platform to work beautifully in harmony with the data solutions of Northern KwaZulu-Natal. It's not where you're going to battle to read our news. You're not going to sit on your mobile device if you're in the middle of nowhere and go, okay, well, I need a gig of data to be able to utilize these guys. It's not the case. So you're able to actually access the news, simply and easily as well. And at the same time, it is not going to be this great demand when you know what I'm talking about. You go onto a lot of not just news sites but websites themselves, and especially if you ever Google the recipe, And what ends up happening is you have 400 million pop-ups, and you know you battle to even just get to the content itself. So we built it light, we kept it nice and easy, we kept it nice and simple, so it worked with everybody. It's not going to kill data, it's not going to murder your actual bandwidth itself. It's going to work with you, and at the same time, through this accessible platform and this integrity-driven product, we have truly done some historical things in Northern KwaZulu-Natal, and it's really thanks to the unadulterated effort of the people that are driving Newcastillian News, and it's a small team that literally it eats, sleeps, and breathes news. It's not a Monday to Friday kind of job being in the news industry, and it is exceptionally challenging. So yeah, with that whole long splurb, and us now reaching over 100,000 readers a month, clearly the recipe is good, and clearly you are enjoying that recipe. Clearly you are appreciative of this type of news, and for that we are eternally grateful. It means that all the effort and the challenges and the hardships that we have faced to ensure this news product grows and develops and serves the people that we are, you know, looking out for, it means that it's well received and that you guys continue to be there for us. So without further ado, as they say, I'm going to dive into the frequently asked questions. Stay with me. Okay, into our frequently asked questions. So first and foremost is more of a statement than a question. So we've had a bunch of people over the years ask us, or more state, that it must be nice to have a really easy job being in the news industry. And I actually just want to chuckle at that statement, because you just get sent stories from different government agencies and businesses and you know, municipalities, and then you guys just type it up and pop it up on the Newcastillian and share it on social media. It's great. It must be such a relaxing job. I couldn't think of the furthest. To be honest, I'm at a loss for words as to how furthest from the truth, or far from the truth rather, that statement is. It's like saying that a professional chef who works in a monster kitchen has the easiest job on planet Earth, simply because they go to work every day, they cook some nice stuff on the little stovetop and enjoy cups of coffee and chat with their buddies. If you've ever been into a professional kitchen, I've got a few buddies that are chefs, and it's hell on earth. It's just pandemonium. There's just fire, food, shouting, screaming. It's debauchery, and the news agency makes that look like a nice little petting zoo. The news, or industry rather, is a place that is in South Africa first and foremost. So just remember that. We're in South Africa as people that are holding the elites accountable, holding government entities accountable, municipal, police, whatever the case may be, accountable, and demanding answers and feedback for our communities. So when our communities are not able to strive, thrive, achieve things, we are the first point of contact. When a lot of people, we help so many people in the background without publishing content on this, because we're just people who want to see a better tomorrow. And I know that sounds so cliche and cheesy, but it really is. I'm a father of 3 kids. I don't want my kids to grow up in a dog show. So the thing is that we are those kind of people, and all of us at the Newcastillian are that type of person, and that's why we're in this industry. It takes a special kind of person to be in the news industry, and that's why I have no gripe with any one of my opposition around South Africa. Not one. I take my hat off them every single day, because I know what it's like to be in the trenches. It is an absolute war zone, and I think if people started to take kind of a step back and realize what news agencies do for you in your respective capacity in your life, your business, your job, and start to actually go, you know, if these guys weren't holding, let's say, municipalities accountable, in my world, you know, things would be a lot worse in terms of my sewage and my water and my roads. And this is just looking at basic infrastructure. This is just looking at your general livability. You know, if you had to rely on Facebook for people to share complaining, moaning little posts, you would get nowhere quite quickly. So the thing is, to answer that statement, is we don't just get sent news, we have to go and actually develop news, in the sense being that we have to go, we are given tip-offs and leads and sources, and people contact us, and we go to these entities and obviously create stories based on comments and on findings and on discoveries, and ensuring that all the process is done correctly. We put together an article and then bring this out. And one of the challenges of being in northern KwaZulu-Natal is that, as we like to say, we live in the Wild West, because we have dealt with so many people attacking us, and so many entities, organizations, schools, you name it. We've had it all. We've had everyone think that because they are disgruntled with an article that it is somehow illegal, or the statements made, or whatever the case may be. It ruffles their feathers, and therefore they take it upon themselves to think that they can attack us. And it is something that's quite intense. When you get into the news industry, when you get your first ever lawsuit that you hit with, you stress, and I remember that many years ago, and I was so hyper stressed, and I couldn't sleep at night, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Until my attorney reminded me that, buddy, you do everything by the book, so much so that it's actually ridiculous. You guys are the furthest thing from a company that speculates or dramatizes. You guys are like, as he called it, a beige news. We just present the facts and we work on comments, and that's what it is. So, and after, I couldn't even tell you how many lawsuits later, and we've never lost one, because every time these people take us on, it fizzles down, or it goes to court, or whatever the case may be, and that person then walks away, thankfully educated, going, oh wow, I live in a democratic country. This isn't North Korea, where I get to kind of dictate the motion of things. And if these guys and girls are following the process, they can, they're allowed to report on what's happening. It's called public interest. It's a huge part of it. In 1994, when the country changed, a big thing that Nelson Mandela was a driver of was ensuring the democratic voice. He was a big driver of freedom of speech, and of allowing journalists to be able to trade in a country that, was just full of politics, and being able to do it safely, and to a certain degree, of course. And, he put a lot of effort into that, and that freedom that he gave to the news industry played an invaluable role in shaping South Africa, and being that final front of being able to ensure that the public is informed. And this is why you see not just people like us, but huge big national news agencies saying that South Africa needs to really get back to its roots and start supporting its news agencies again, because without us, the democratic voice goes away, and you are left to state-owned news, and you are left to social media and word of mouth, which couldn't be more destructive if you tried. So that answers that, I hope. Okay, the next frequently asked question is advertising. I remember when we first started, I went to an event at a local school, and I had a good couple of great clients that were supporting the event, and I was standing at one of their tents, and or marquees, whatever you might call it, and I had this lady she was quite drunk, and and she said to me, she was like, and she blurted it out, and she was like, I don't know how the Newcastillian makes money. It's ridiculous. How do you make money on the internet? And I thought it was quite cool, but nevertheless, afterwards she walked away going, oh wow. So it's time for to actually address the question, which is, how does advertising work on the Newcastillian? And it's awesome, to be honest with you, because the old days have truly fallen away. I mean, if you look at print products, I mean, when last did you make a buying decision out of a print product? When last did you drive past a signboard and make a buying decision? I mean, today, also coming from a strong marketing background, I find it absolutely hilarious how you look at people's signs, and there's so much on it that I mean, it literally looks like a little puzzle that you have to try to decipher at 60 k's an hour. It's ludicrous. So these old technologies have obviously fallen by the wayside, and unfortunately in environments like northern KwaZulu-Natal, people are still catching up, but people are catching up at a rapid rate. And I look at the corporate companies, and we have amazing corporates that support us, and if it wasn't for them, well, you wouldn't be getting your news, to be honest with you. And companies like Mediclinic Newcastle, they had a great transition going from quite a strong print environment to really getting into digital hemisphere, because you were able to engage and are able to engage with a huge base of people effectively and with great ease. And also your stories or your paid content or whatever the case may be, or your ads, they're not recycled. It's not like it's going through the wash again and kind of coming out as fresh paper to be printed on. It is there forever and a day. It's online, it's there. And also there's a thing called search engine optimization, or SEO. And what that does is it plays a huge role in this whole process. So in other words, if I put in the right keywords into the article and someone searches for, let's say, Dr. Tusi from Mediclinic Newcastle, guess what's going to happen? The articles and the paid content on Dr. Tusi is going to come up. So this builds up your credibility online, and all of us know this. Everything we do today is via our cell phones or laptops. So, you know, as much as some of us, especially those that are trapped a bit in the old school, believe that there is still merit to it, you're selling yourself, you know, and your entire client base and everything is utilizing the internet to make buying decisions. Even if we do see a signboard and manage to catch a logo, we will Google who the company is. And if that company doesn't have good data on it or good information on it or a great website, well, guess what happens? We move away. Same thing when it comes to social media. People think that Facebook is the marketing device, and I have watched so many people waste their money on Facebook. If something costs 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand to market your entire business, it's obviously going to be not good. You know, that is something that has become muddled up in the advertising world. You know, you go back to the 1950s, there were companies spending 20, 30, 40 million Rand on ads. You know, and today somehow you flash forward all these years and you've got companies thinking they can get away with spending 2,000 Rand on advertising, and they go, it just doesn't work. And you're like, no, buddy, so the entire social media makes up like 5 to 10% of your marketing mix. And if you're considering that your marketing pie, you're already at a loss and need to consult with a professional marketer. The same way, if you had a growth on your leg, you wouldn't give someone 500 bucks to cut it out because he's watched a YouTube video and says he's a really nice guy. You would go to a medical professional, and you know the bill that's going to be involved with that. You know the cost because you're paying for someone who's qualified, who's not going to make a mess of it, someone who's got the skill set and the experience and the expertise to be able to perform a precise action on you. So the thing is that when you look at advertising on Newcastillian News, it works with user, the user in mind. So, you know, once again, not driving past a signboard, having to write down a phone number. I mean, take a photo, an illegal action. You can't use your phone while you're driving, or reading in a page and hopefully remembering it. No. With us, what happens, if you look over here, you jump into, let's say, this morning's article, and you come down, and of course my internet's having a great time, and here's our great friends Evotel, awesome company. And you click over here, boom, and here you are. You're right through to the ad. The path for the user is so easy to do. It is unbelievable. It is so easy to have your client engage with your product that you are not trying to oversell something. You're not trying to kind of drive 100,000 print ads and go, please, 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 can someone see this? You're not having someone who's dirty and dressed horribly handing out flyers that smells like 15 baths never happened. And you are not dealing with this kind of mentality where it is this old school when we had no internet mentality. So yes, before the internet, these things were the only things available. However, today, that is not the reality, and it's not been the reality for donkey's years now. So pretty much if you are not doing this form of thinking where you're thinking about consumer behavior the same way you would do something, you are missing out. You are truly missing out and putting your business or your brand at a disadvantage. And if you jump back over here, let's get back to this. We keep scrolling down to our great friends at AME. We introduced something recently where we were now, we built a survey page on here so we can actually do surveys for companies. They paid surveys. So once again, click over here. We come through and we jump onto the Newcastillians competitions page and surveys page. This is awesome. This is amazing. So if you've got a business now, you can do a giveaway, you can do a whole drive, and people are able to submit their data. You can then communicate with them afterwards. You build up a marketing database. You start to connect with people on a whole different level while introducing your product offerings. It's a whole revolution. Now compare this to putting a little block in some form of print product or on a sign that the wind blows down and hangs at the bottom of a pole. It is like trying to compare a truck to a wheelbarrow and saying we are both in the logistics industry. It's ridiculous. So if you come down over here, like I said, and then once again, you've got the company's details itself, you've got email details, you can get through to them. It is a comprehensive, complete product, as it's called. So you are ensuring that the user experience is of the highest caliber. You're ensuring that the user is able to engage with your ads and is able to engage with your company. And then it's up to you. If you've gone and cheaped out and once again on a bad website, sorry. Someone lied, someone sold you on a load of nonsense, because if your website's not built correctly, and I'm not talking about it looking pretty in the front and you going, it looks nice, it's okay. If it's not built correctly in the background, which is 90% of what a website and why you pay for expensive websites, it's because of the skill that's going into the background of it that ensures that you are not, excuse me, you are not at a disadvantage. And when someone is jumping on Google, and let's say you are in, once again, the engineering industry, like our dear friends at AME, and someone is searching for engineering in this area, AME needs to come up. And if your website doesn't have the correct build in the background, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to feature. So you know you're going to be in the question or in the conversation when people are looking for your company if your site's not built correctly. But that's a topic or a conversation you can gladly have with Pixelfish Marketing. So nevertheless, like I said, when it comes down to advertising, these packages are called in articles, and they're awesome. Our corporate clients absolutely love them, because what you are doing is placing your advert directly in the news multiple times a week, and the packages vary based on your budget. So, you know, if you had to start out with, I think it's 6 or 7 posts, it's about $5.5 grand, and that's 6 or 7 articles that you are being placed in throughout the week. Your artwork is then also additionally shared across our very well supported social media platforms and WhatsApp groups and all this type of jazz. So you are getting massive bang for your buck. You are able to cover and engage with a huge audience and make it easy for them. You are not making your advertising a challenge and a problem, because no one cares. You have to make your company or your product, your service, a part of people's life. That is the absolute key fundamental to take away from this, is that if your advertising is difficult to engage with, if it is complex, if it's a signboard that's got 1,000,000 words on it, if it, whatever the case is, you are at a disadvantage compared to people who aren't doing that and are utilizing the current world of marketing tools that are available to them, one of which is, of course, our dear friend here, the Newcastillian. So, the last product that we have, because we don't drown you out in advertising, this is a big thing, is that a lot of, as I've mentioned in the intro, is that, you know, a lot of websites have 100 million banners all over and videos popping up, and it just drives you insane. You eventually just leave the site. You don't engage with one of those ads. In actuality, if you click on one, it's actually irritating. You're like, oh, I did it, you know, and it's frustrating. And you know what's the worst part? These companies don't think that, once again, the user experience is so flawed on that kind of advertising and marketing that it drives people insane. So how do think of the emotion that they're attaching to your company? So nevertheless, as if you jump over here, we have sponsored posts or sponsored content, which we call, in nice fancy term in our world, called cybertorials. It's pretty much in the old days when I was still in print, it was called a advertorial or paid editorial. And if you come down here, let's just take our dear friend, move my screen over there. Here we had, of course, Mediclinic Newcastle had their Doctor of the Year award. It's a prestigious award that they host annually, and it's based on, you know, votes from staff and from patients, vote for their top doctor. So we click on that and we come across here. With this paid content, what's so cool about it is our graphic designer also helps you with your cover image and ensures that that looks all solid, and then you can bomb it out with content. Our journalist does the interview with you if you need, so you know you don't have to sit and concoct some story. He can sit and actually get the words from you, bring it into the office, editorial team puts it together, sends it to you for sign-off, changes, whatever it might be, and then we smash in photos. So here you can see the nominees for the Mediclinic Awards. And then if we come down to the bottom, Mediclinic went one step further just to ensure, you know, that this event got the most exposure out of it. And they also tasked Pixelfish to do this short video of the events and, you know, what actually transpired on the day. And that was also placed in articles. So this is, once again, the cool part about digital. You're not limited to kind of, you know, writing and a dodgy picture. You can really put in links, images, videos. You can go to town. And these bad boys are super cheap. I think they're like $4 grand. So it is these are tools that are at your disposal in this region and to service this region. You know, it's not just about if you are based in the northern KwaZulu-Natal area. It's about if you are trying to target the northern KwaZulu-Natal area, these products play a huge role, and that's why we have so many corporates that utilize us, because it is a difficult database. It took us years to grow the Newcastillian to the point where it has over 100,000 readers, and that was through gruel, grit, and just so much commitment to quality news. And this, obviously, when corporates took a look at it, we're like, yeah, we battle to engage with that. We don't want to use Facebook. It's gross. It's the world's biggest cemetery, and it's got more fake profiles than anything. I mean, I've never seen more CEOs in all my life than I have on Facebook. So, and they matriculated like 6 weeks prior to that. But nevertheless, is that you've got this awesome platform at your disposal, and it is something that you can rely on. It's something that is there. It's never down. It's never offline. It's never, you don't need to wait for someone to pick the product up or drive past it. So yeah, between our article ads and our sponsor posts, that's our advertising, and that's what drives the Newcastillian News. Right, the next frequently asked question is regarding commenting. And this topic needs to be addressed, to be quite honest with you, because we get asked, or it's more once again of a statement that if I use a fake name, no one will know who I am, and, I'm pretty much covered. And yes, in terms of one aspect, that the people around you won't know who it is if we publish your comments, because remember, once again, we're not state-owned. We are not a public-owned product. We are an independent company. And if you want to learn more about our rules and regulations, please go over here to our terms and conditions and read more about the product. We're a trading business. So, but when it comes down to you utilizing a fake name to comment, please understand you are most certainly not invisible. You are on a digital product. So if you say something that is defamatory or that is slanderous, or you incite some form of violence or hate, understand that if that comment is published, and whomever takes offense and whomever is in their legal right, they can actually engage with us via legal mediums and obtain your IP address. So you are not invisible. The reason why we allow for anonymous names is for people to, because we know that we live in these smaller communities, and we know that some people just don't want to be seen as saying something about the content. They just, they don't want, their next door neighbor to know their actual feelings about something, or whatever the case may be. But it is not a shield that you are given in order to just wreak havoc. I mean, every day we have hundreds of comments on the Newcastillian News, and we delete, I couldn't even explain to you the bulk of them, because the bulk of them are spam. That's literally spam. And remember, if you are commenting under a fake name, that is already spam off the bat. It is straightforward. We can deem that spam straight away, because you're not speaking as you as person, name, surname, and giving your opinion as a registered South African citizen or a whomever citizen of the world. You are being fake. You are lying. You are putting forth a false person and commenting as a false person. So that is a spam comment. And we are more than within our right to delete that, because we've had people unhinge and send us emails and say, you're not publishing my comment, you're denying my freedom of speech and my freedom of expression. We're like, no, use your real name. You've even created a fake email to contact us. And if you want to know more, go down here, read the commenting guidelines, and while we're talking about the technicalities of our business, is to go read our terms and conditions, learn more about our business, understand that once again, this is a company that is not a state-owned product or public product that you can just do as you will. It is a actual independent news agency that is a trading company. So remember, there are rules and regulations. Learn them as you would with anything. Right, when it comes down to the second point on this commenting topic is freedom of speech. And this is a very, very overplayed and overused term that people think that they have. And that there needs to be some form of realization here. There needs to be some form of logic. And if you don't want the logic, then go read the law on it. We have. As freedom of expression is 100% supported, and we are 100% behind it. Obviously, we're a news agency, or freedom of speech, sorry. But remember, as per the Constitution, freedom of speech falls away when you start stating defamatory remarks or comments or hatred, anything to do with race and ethnicity and culture, and you start to move into the destructive side of things and you start to attack. That's not freedom of speech anymore. So it's the same as you can have an opinion about something, but you can't go and slander into whomever and whatever in a public forum. That is illegal. You are not allowed to do that. And the same thing applies to commenting. We have to moderate a lot of comments where people have really unhinged their jaws and just try to bite into companies or whomever, entities, organizations, schools, government departments, where if we weren't thinking for you, you would face some form of backlash. And that's what we really are always trying to do. So if we are not publishing your comments and you're not seeing it get up on your article, and maybe go revisit what you were originally trying to say and realize that we protected you from possibly facing some legal ramifications. Right now we've got a few crazies. You know, it's that, as you know, that split once again of the 90-odd% of you are just normal people going about your life, doing your thing. You appreciate the news and the information, and that's awesome. We love you for that. But then, of course, you got the couple of percent that are just nuts. They, you know, tinfoil hat wearers, conspiracy, crazy, I don't know, running around the street chasing cars for something, I don't know. They are just absolutely bananas. And what they do is they use these mediums like on social media. You guys see it all the time as well on social media. It's a common trend, and that's where it was born, was on social media. You know, this okay, I'm behind a screen and I can now just say what I want and I can do what I want, and now if I can use a fake name, well, even better, I can just truly go nuts. And we have seen some really crazy things, and like I said, people get so aggressive because we want to publish it. We've even had our journalists contacted telephonically, via message, all of this, where people have threatened to beat them up. They wanted to, smash them because, they want to have their freedom of speech. And we've had people try and take us on. Once again, they have a crazy notion that we are not allowing this. We're not giving them their platform to voice themselves. We owe you nothing when it comes to you being discriminatory or defamatory or slanderous or any of the above. Commenting as per the opening lines of our commenting guidelines, which all of you need to read, is at Newcastillian News, we value the voice of our community and encourage open dialogue. We do. However, every article ends with that. Please share your insights and your thoughts. However, it is crucial to maintain a respectful and constructive environment. We remind everyone that using fake or anonymous identities does not shield you from being identified and held accountable for your comments. So, to get more of an understanding, go have a look, read this, and then, of course, learn more about the company itself and the rules and regulations when it comes to utilizing Newcastillian, and read our terms and conditions. I hope that answers your question. Wrapping it up, just a huge thank you for taking the time to watch the video and, get a bit of a peek behind the curtain and a little bit more of an understanding about who we are and what we do. We definitely have not covered all the frequently asked questions, and we get some freakishly frequently asked questions, but we'll get into that into another video. We also have some pretty insane, weird, and wonderful stories, and we'll dive into all of this so you, once again, stay connected to the news, stay connected to the product who's connected to you. So have a good time. Thank you for your time, and I'll chat to you real soon.